Let me know that love is around me. If you wake up any morning, any day, any moment, to remember to recognize that love is around you, that is a blessed prayer. That is a perfect affirmation. To remember to know that love is around us, around me, around you, no matter what is going on. And because of love being around us is why we go through and grow through what we go through. And it reminds us that even though we're going through it and growing through it, it's all God, it's all good, it's all love. Now, I know when you're in the thick of it, you're not thinking love. Maybe it's time for you to redefine what love is. I think part of the problem. Oh, I already started. Ooh, let me slow down. Let me roll it back, roll it back, roll it back. We need to redefine love. I feel that we need to individually ask ourselves, what's the meaning of love? Hey Pam on IG and those of you in the chat, let me welcome myself. I came in here ready to go. Nice to see you too, Susan. I think, hold on one second. Yep, I see you. Oh, you're smiling back at me. Oh, that's so sweet. What is it? Good night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day to you. In fact, good you. You're good. You're beautiful. You're amazing. You're worthy. You're a great fool. You're a successful. You are delightful. And you are peaceful. Join me. Add to it. See, we say these affirmations because we are filling up our consciousness. We're filling up our minds, a part of ourselves that knows what is true. So when we say the affirmation, when we speak the word, when we listen, we allow. You're dialing up the truth about you. When you say, "I am peaceful," I am graceful, I am grateful, I am successful. You're dialing up the truth about you because there's going to be a time, any moment now, that you might not be able to say that. Or you might be saying that and go, yeah, I know, but get your big butt out of the way and see who you are. Oh my God. I am so grateful to be here. Robin, yes, I miss you too. I miss all of you guys. Thank you all for being back. Yes. Let me see who else. Who have I missed? So there's Meg in here, Quinn here. Rickie told me about some of your shows is online that I haven't seen, Quinn. I have to go check it out. So a little bit of your conversation with Rickie the other day, and well, the other week. Who's counting? Ebony, welcome. Maxine, nice to see you. Yes, you are grateful. Got to put the other L in it. You're grateful. It's not. We're not trying to get to success. We're not trying to be great. We're not trying to be peaceful. We are already peaceful. We're already successful. So our responsibility is to give ourselves permission to release the success that is already full. We're full of it. So we can release the success that is already there. Kemet forever. Yes, indeed. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Janice, am I saying your name right? I said it before, but it's been such a while. I think I've said it before. Michelle. Michelle's like, hey, Michelle, you can just act like you know me. Don't just say hi, because everybody else seems to know you, but I don't. Hey, hey. Hey, that's what I do, Ebony. I got to preach. I got to teach, because we need each other. Good to see you too. Good to see you, Sharon. I was playing with your rocks today. Actually, no, it was yesterday, and I moved them around. I was sorting things out. So it's so good to be back here. I am just drinking in and taking in all this love, and I am getting full of myself. Y'all don't want me to get full of myself, because if I get full of myself, you can't handle me. And you can never handle me anyway. You just have to handle you. It's not my responsibility or your responsibility to handle me. It's not my responsibility to worry about you handling me. Your responsibility is to handle you and let all of you flow through. All right. All right. It's close to the end of the month, and it's, what is it, about almost 10 after 2 a.m. here in UK. I took a nap. I didn't know I was going to be this lit, but I'm lit. I can't help it. I'm a light being. I'm Aries. It's all about fire for me. All right. Anyway, I am Life Coach Ade. You know that already, aka Ade Anifowoshe. I'm just hearing Rickie in my head. We talked a few days ago, and she started doing Ade, 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 Ade. I was like, "Oh, you miss saying that?" She said, "Yes." She said, "I miss trying to pronounce your name correctly." Kiana, yes, passing through. You're stuck now. You can't go nowhere. You can't pass through and think you're gonna keep walking. Stay your hips right here. Yes, I am reflecting the best in myself and in you, and together we make a big difference. So, anyway, yes, for those of you who were shocked and surprised, like, where's Rickie? Who's this dude? I don't know him. It's okay. It's okay. I'll be kind. I'll be good. I might even sing if I'm really smelling myself, but I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure if I'm smelling myself yet. Anyway, yes, Rickie's not here. She is traveling. She's with her family, as some of you or all of you might know. I don't know. Uncle George has transcended to the next realm. So it's a good moment to just send the family love, healing, and blessings, or actually just activating what's already there. The little that I know through about Uncle George through Rickie, it's like Uncle George is a mystic. The things that she shared on air, that she shared when we were on the phone, it's like that man is a mystic. The one that can go beyond appearances, that gives himself some time to sit with an idea, to see through it, and let it speak back to him. That's a mystic. She does it with ease. A mystic, she just allow life to speak back to her, for her to see something differently beyond what is right or wrong, what is dark and what is light. He sits there and allow maybe even something that once scared him to speak back to him. And when she gets up from that place of contemplation, she moves differently. While everybody else is tripping, she's just trusting. And even when she can't trust, he knows it's okay. Because he knows no matter how much he trusts, God is always in control. There's something bigger, there's something more that we call God, the great I am. Uncle George was one of those. And we are too. And when we allow ourselves to access the mystical consciousness about ourselves, we cry when our heart breaks. We laugh when we're feeling joyful. Sometimes we might even cry when there's no evidence of why we're crying, because we recognize we're in touch with something else. Sometimes the soul just needs a cleanse, a release of something that happened in the past that we got in touch with. We smile, we know that no matter how much we affirm and pray and do the work and claim our spiritual identity, we're still going to go through and grow through the ups and downs of life. There's still going to be pain. There's still going to be struggles. As a mystic, you allow yourself to embrace it all. It's easy to embrace when things are great, when the light is bright. But do we give ourselves permission that when things are tough, to stand in it and say, what do I need to see? What do I need to know? And rather than praying for, please help, I want this to be over right now. Baby, give yourself permission to say, okay, I'm willing to sit with this. and get the message. And you allow the situation, the experience to activate, to be a catalyst for your death. And when you die, you know something new is going to be resurrected. You're never the same. The dying process is messy, feels uncomfortable. Yeah. Yes. Yes, I'm guest hosting for Rickie. I'm so full of myself right now. Hey, Jenny, how are you doing? Hey, Ashley. What are you going through and growing through? Happy solstice. Happy holy days. Happy you. Let me see what some of you are saying in the chat. Woo! Sing? Let's see. Maybe I'm not going to say no. Yes. Kiana said, hey, Behood cousin. I hope you're still sitting comfortably, Kiana. There's no need to pass through, okay? You pass in and sit in. Yes, we're sending love and blessings and gratitude to Rickie's family. Kalila? Please tell me if I'm saying your name correctly. And tell me if I'm not saying it correctly. All right, let's go. I don't know. Do you want to be playful? Do you want to go deep? Do you want me to sing? If I get more people asking me to sing, then I'll consider singing, but I don't know. I might play a song. Be still and listen. That's right. Receive the message. Receive the message that life is delivering you. Life has been a journey. We're coming to the end of the year and we've all gone through it. We're all going through it. We've managed to find our center. Hello, Edith. We've managed to catch the message. We're learning more and more. Most of us are learning that the best way to catch up sometimes is to slow your ass down. Slow your ass down. If you really want to catch up, you just might need to slow down. We're living in a time where everything is wide open. And if I didn't tell you, this is Soul Fulfilling, episode 99, but I don't need to tell you that because you know that. So is your soul fulfilled tonight, to evening, to now, in this moment? Do you feel fulfilled? And you know the beautiful thing you could ever do for yourself? Now that I'm willing to do, and you just tempt me there, commit forever. You say drumming would be great. I don't know. I might. I have a little drum. I have a big one. Actually, it's over there. I have a little one. It's 2 a.m. I'm looking over there because my clock is over there. But I may be able to play the drum. I don't know. We'll see. If anybody else, how about a little drumming? Okay, maybe. That actually feels right. But anyway, yeah. You know, the best you can do for yourself is to tell the truth. When I say tell the truth, I'm not just talking about the spiritual truth. Because those of us on the spiritual path, those of us on the religious path, we sometimes think we have to impress God. Like, well, yes, I know who I am. There are times you don't know. Just don't know. It's like, yeah, intellectually I get it, but I don't know. This God goddess presence, when you don't know, it's like, woo, I'm about to teach you something about you. I'm feeling so much now, and I have to kind of like slow down because I want to go somewhere else, but something else is coming up. Gem Bay softly. That's right. The best way to catch up sometimes is to slow down. Y'all keep asking for drumming, trying to get me in trouble. my neighbors are used to me being up late. Do you know sometimes, can anybody relate, like when you're up late or when people are being quiet and people around you, you're trying to be quiet, it seems like that's when the door slams without you trying, or you're holding something, you grab hold of it and it drops. And it's like, not now. So I think maybe just spirit telling my neighbors it's okay. So back to the best way to catch up sometimes is to slow down. What does that mean? There's so much going on. And I've said this many times, I've been saying this for a long time. And when I was saying this 10 years ago, that there's so much going on, I thought it was just a moment. And it is. And it's a moment right now. But to find out that I've been saying this, there's always something going on and we're waking up. Can you imagine we live in a time where people are saying women can't go to school, can't be university, can't learn? We live in a time where people are just trying to silence what is true. Don't want to face history. Don't want to tell the truth. We live in a time where if you have a voice, you can get executed. We live in a time where people are denying other people's experience because it makes them feel uncomfortable. We live in a time where people deny your experience, and because they deny your experience, you try to deny their experience. So experiences are just being denied left, right, and center. It's for real, it's a good time to be alive. But there are times when we're in the thick of it that it doesn't feel so good. I've shared some of my journey with you all since July. Really, that's when it really came to the forefront, and going through a lot. This last few months has been, and I'm so grateful for it because it caused me to sit. Somehow I'm feeling like, okay, hold on, let me go get my drum because I'm feeling a nudge. So I am here. I'm gonna keep talking, but you can't hear me. Yes, you can. All right, hold on. Y'all asked for it, but I'm not gonna play it right now. Oh boy. Oh, see. I'm trying to keep it quiet. The percussion instrument is trying to keep making some noise. Here's my little drum. I'm gonna put it here because it just feels right. So what I've gone through, and I'm sure it's not just yeah, I got a great mic here. What I've gone through is not just me. We're all going through it and growing through it in our own ways. But from my experience since July, I've had to let go. I got mad. I got mad at my ancestors. I got mad at God. I'm like, listen, you need to fix this. I am not doing this anymore. Went through all sorts. Faced grief. Facilitated grief rituals. As most of you know, I do that. And then it has caused me to go deep into my own grief and face it and release it and die into it so I can rise out from it. I shared that story about recognizing that I've been carrying grief inside of me. It was passed on to me. I marinated in it when my mother was pregnant with me. And recently, so I wasn't sure if I was going to share this part, but I'm not going to tell the whole story. Well, I don't know. The same thing, Rickie says, this reminds me of a song. I'm not going to sing the whole song. And then she goes on about the song and on and gives it, go different places, do things she's never done before. Or I'm not going to tell this story. And she ends up telling the story. She often does say that, like before the show, she'll start telling me about something. It's like, but I'm not going to say that on air. And then she gets on and tells everything. And one day I said, okay, Rickie, all right, now, if you start to tell the story that you're not telling, I might say, Rickie, that's the opportunity to check in and see if you really want to tell it. But the story, it's not that I don't want to tell it. It needs to be told. I can't tell you the whole thing. Not that I can't. I just don't feel it's time, but I'm going to write about it. But the story is about Rickie's in the chat room. She said, watch it, preacher. This preacher gonna preach. Tavon, I like that. Speak on it. Tavon, I don't know if you know the sister on IG. What's it, Lene? Is it Lene to say, hey, y'all, it's Friday. I'm going to keep it brief. I just love how she delivers her content. Napping free. Which one is it? I love you too, Quinn. I love you too. Yes. So I had one of the most profound experience that I've ever had about just a little over a week ago. And the experience, the healing that happened, I couldn't have designed it. I couldn't have vision board it. I could have even prayed for it. I mean, I have been praying for it. I've been holding it in intention. That's the thing about praying and intentioning and praying and affirming and contemplating and meditating. When it's time for the healing to happen, thank you, nappy and free. Okay, thank you. When it's time, the thing that you're praying for might even catch you off guard. Like, oh, shoot. I've shared some of my journey, my experience with my father, who's back in the UK. Yay. And I'm gonna say this first because I think I need to put it into context. And for those of you who are listening, whether you're a parent or maybe your parents are still around, but particularly if you're a parent, and that doesn't mean that you birthed a child biologically, but you're a parent just because you've lived life and they're young people that you care for, whether they're close to you or you see them through the window or they're your neighbors. We have a responsibility. What I believe is we're here to discover and recover the truth of who we are. And so no matter how great you are as a father, as a mother, as an auntie, as an uncle, as a cousin, as a niece and nephew, people around you will be triggered, traumatized, hurt by something you say or do. It's just the nature of things. Because the essence of who we are is sensitive, is fragile, is vulnerable. And sometimes when the vulnerable rubs against my vulnerability, rubs against your vulnerability, it creates a spark. And if I don't understand what's happening, I make that mean something that is not. And even when I make it mean what it's not, it helps me realize what the truth is eventually. So the brief story is, which is something I didn't know until a few months ago. I used to say, which is true, I had a nanny when I was younger. From basically 0 to 4, I was with a nanny. Actually, I was with the first nanny. Was my father said I went to the first nanny after about 2 months. I've shared some of this story before. And 2 weeks later, they yanked me out of there. Now, the three things I think that I've been struggling with, that I was struggling with, was the sense of belonging, displacement, and identity. And as I've done my journey, as I've done my work and going through my journey and looking at where life has brought me, I was able to associate it with my beginning. But where's the beginning? We don't really know, right? But what I'm calling the beginning was when I was in my mother's womb. When my mother was pregnant, my mom and dad were living in Germany. And then 6 months later, she was 6 months pregnant when they moved to UK. What happens in the womb? The experience your mother, your father went through leaves an imprint. They say babies come with a, what do they call it? Clean slate. I don't know. I actually say, I doubt it. No, you don't. It's like, we're like a Play-Doh. We're molded by the things that happen even before we even know what's happening. So my mother my parents, they moved to UK. There's more. Like when they left, I think I shared this last time, but anyway, when they left, my mom came to Germany for the first time and left 2 children with her mother, my grandmother. And she moved to Germany to be with my dad while they were working and earning money and the things that Africans did back then, particularly the West Africans, and which then they eventually moved to UK, and people from Nigeria, Ghana, they did that a lot. There were many of us who were fostered during that time in the 60s. And they actually have a name for it, which I found out this year, like around August, that it was called farming, FARMING. So they moved to UK. My mom gave birth to me. 2 months later, I was with a nanny. 2 weeks later, they yanked me out of there because she was giving me alcohol. And my father was like, we ain't dealing with this. And he thinks she was giving me alcohol to put me to sleep. They yanked me out of there. 2 weeks later, they found another nanny. She was outside of London. My parents live in London. And 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, I was living with her from 0 to 4. So every weekend, my nanny, Pat, will bring me to London. At one point, I was just living with her. And then eventually, they were doing this weekend thing. One weekend, my parents will come to Hastings. And the next weekend, Pat and I will come to London. That's age 4. So a lot of movement, a lot of uprooting from Germany to here. 2 months later, I was in foster care, privately fostered, a nanny. 2 weeks later, they yanked me out and sent me. So there's this, all that showed up as, where's home? I feel displaced. Where do I belong? And in my adult years, especially after being gone from Nigeria. I mean, I left Nigeria when I was almost 18. That's 1986. Do the math. You can figure it out. I don't have my age. But anyway, I haven't been back yet. So after a while, the question is, am I Nigerian enough? It was a valid question when I was asking it, looking at it, and I was like, what does that mean? Because I have a new awareness. And I even, I remember I was talking to my younger sister. I was in Atlanta. We were on the phone, and she was with a friend who's got a lot to say about a lot of things, like me. I've never met him before, but I can hear him in the background. He heard the way I was speaking, my accent. It wasn't a strong Yoruba accent. And he said, he's lost. I said, oh, if your brother's lost. People say a lot of stupid shift sometimes. So anyway, I'm part of a documentary that looks at those of us who went through that fostering experience. And a lot more, which I can't say a lot about it, but it's coming out soon. It's a longer story, so I want to give you the highlights. Anyway, my younger sister and I, we went to see the private screening. We went to this private screening about maybe about 3 weeks ago. And she was moved. She was touched. Marian Alafia Shalafiani. She was so moved that she came home and talked to my father about it, about what it was like for people who were fostered, privately fostered, who was with a nanny, even before I had the conversation with my father. The next day, she talked about it because it's so powerful. It's, oh my God. Yeah, I'm going to tell you about it when it comes out, but it's a universal story, even though it was centered around Nigerians who were born in this country and were fostered. I had intention to talk to my father about it. I'm laughing because I'm like projecting. I can hear my father listen to this conversation. Now, like that means you talk too much. Why are you telling people this story? Oh my God. So anyway, so when I came downstairs and my sister was talking to dad about it, and I was sitting there listening, and then my father turned to me and asked, "Well, okay, it will kilawashi, kilashi." Even if you don't understand what I'm saying, you already know that. And he was like, soften me, which is, what did we do? Tell me what we did. Tell me what we did. And I was like, what is all this? What's all of this? And I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those conversations, huh? So I started the conversation the way I felt to share it. I wasn't thinking it. It was like, no. So Tashi, no. Don't tell me that. Tell me what we did. I'm like, Dad, I'm trying to tell you. I started the conversation again. No. I was like, ooh, I'm an Aries moon. And anyway, that happened back and forth for a little while. And somehow he chilled. I was able to calm myself down to tell him the story. And we had a great conversation. This was on a Saturday. We had a great conversation. I felt there was a heart to heart, but it wasn't, it was like almost the places where he told me some things that I didn't know or that I've forgotten. And I noticed that he was listening to me talk about my experience, or the way he was listening to it, like they did something wrong. And I was telling him, no, it's not about that. It's about the choices that you made, the impact it had on me. And it happens with everybody. No matter how loving you are as a parent, you think you're doing your best. There's some of us who are giving our kids everything they ask for. We're doing everything because we didn't get anything when we were younger. Now the kids at this time may enjoy it, but then they grow up later and say, my parents gave me everything. Now, I'm not going to do that to my children. They might withhold from their children, right? So there's this sort of swing that happens, like the pendulum. So we had a conversation. It was good. I thought it was, I felt it could have gone deeper, but I wasn't tripping because I felt like we had a heart to heart to some point. Anyway, fast forward, parents, caregivers, lovers of humanity, pay attention. The next day, something else happened. And we had a disagreement. I won't say we resolved it, but I just remember later on, my sister came back from work and I told her about it. And I went to take a shower. And between that time, Dad told her what happened. And playing this back in my head now is so funny. And when I came down, my sister said, I need to talk to you. I was like, oh, shit. She said, when you're dealing with that, sometimes you just got to learn to hold things back and not. And I was like, wait a minute. But I was listening. I was breathing. But inside, I was like, She's like, I see you do that. Sometimes you just get, I don't even know, I would say mad. I'll say mad right now. You get mad, you get upset. Yes, you get mad, you get upset. But she said, that same thing happens to me. I just keep quiet and I don't say anything. And in my head, I'm like, I'm not you. I don't deal with like that. But I was listening. And she said, you just got to figure out how to relate with Dad. I said, I know. I'm trying. Now, before that weekend, planning to go there, I had some anxiety around being there because I was afraid of what's going to happen. Are we going to have a disagreement? My siblings, they think I'm the favorite. But back then, my relationship with my dad and our conversation is like, I don't know what y'all talking about. It can't be. If this is what it means to be the favorite, I don't want it. And it's not like it was antagonistic, but there was something. There was when you feel like you're in a room with someone, you're having a conversation, but sometimes you're I don't know about my dad, it's like, ooh, on eggshells, because we are both opinionated. My father is smart. He's intelligent. I don't describe myself as that. People have said it and it feels right. Like, yeah, I feel like I'm intelligent and smart. I have a deep understanding of what life is, and I have something to say. So I was part of a men's group, and that Wednesday I told them just what I was feeling, and they supported me and go through a process. So when my sister was talking to me, I was like, listen, I'm trying to figure this out, but I don't know what else to do. Boy, I can feel that emotion right now. And I just started crying because I felt like I've tried everything. I've tried everything. Fast forward, she said, well, maybe you two should talk. And once I started bawling, she was like, yeah, let's do it now. And I was like, okay. And we got into the room with my father, and I just lost it. Just lost it. So we started to talk. The conversation to me felt like Dad was still kind of doing this black and white conversation while I'm talking about living in the gray. And then my sister shared some things, and I was like, ooh, I didn't know that. And it was just such hard and messy and difficult and sad conversation. And I was disappointed in myself. I was disappointed in the fact that this is happening. And I thought, okay, here's an opportunity to share my truth. And I still felt like it was being received as criticism. And at one point, as much as the three, my sister, her being the mediator did help a great deal. But I just felt like Dad and I ain't getting nowhere. And I remember one time I was like, I didn't say it out loud. if you didn't hear it, I said it again. Did you catch it? I'm not going to say that out loud here either. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this shift. So I sat there. Now, here's the thing about getting mad, getting upset, emotions. You know, as Nigerians, it's a sort of universal thing, but the way it shows up, there's a certain nuance to some things that we deal with. Some of you will be able to relate to this. This Nigerians, particularly Yoruba people, it may be true for the Igbo and the Hausa people, but I'm Yoruba, so I know more about that, my experience. As if you're younger than someone, well, your parents or somebody older than you getting mad or upset is considered a sign of disrespect. I know. I'm mad. And I can't be mad because now you think I'm disrespecting you. I'm mad about that too. So in the conversation, and I was just like, oh, I can get hyped. You know, I get hyped. And I was like, but that's not the thing. And my sister was like, calm down. See, you're getting upset again. Stop getting up. And I'm like, but I'm upset. Just calm. I'm like, oh, don't tell me to calm down. Oh my God, life is funny. Let me take a breath. I'm hot. Yes, Tavon, it drove me nuts. I was getting upset. And they was like, and basically, in essence, like, that's not our way. You can't do that. I was like, whose idea was this? This don't make no sense to nobody. Not to me, anyway. So after a while, my sister interrupted and said, so what's the way forward? In my head, I'm like, way forward? We haven't even resolved this stuff. I said, I don't know. And I genuinely didn't know. I didn't know what I can suggest. I didn't know because I'm like, we're here. I'm out of choices, options, ideas. I'm out. The conversation went back and forth a little bit. I had to go and use the restroom. I came back. My father was next to me. Oh, wait. After I said, I don't know what to do. I don't know what the way forward is. My sister talked. My dad shared some things. And some of the things that my sister said opened up something in my heart, in my mind. And it was just clear. It's like, when you're in the midst of it, if you're really sick, sometimes we think, oh, getting upset, don't be upset, be calm, be peaceful. You need all of it. Because even in the moment where I was pissed and frustrated and angry and was like, I'm done with this, I was still saying, God, please, I need help. Help me see what I need to see right here. I don't know what to do. I was pissed. I was mad. And like, God, help me. I need to see. And there was also part of me that didn't want that moment to go by. I wanted to make the most of it. I don't know what was going to happen. I wasn't even praying for us to now be able to heal and move on, whatever. It's just like, help me see what I need to see. Help me understand what I need to understand. I'm still fucking pissed though. So she said something. Oh, I remember. She said some of the things that she learned, what she's realizing about me, things I've said about in the past about, because I'm the only one that was born in UK, and this is important. Sometimes my siblings would call me the Oloyinbo, which means the white one or the Westerner. Those of you in America will know it's like the Oreo, black on the black on the outside, white on the inside, because they think my ideas is is the Western way, and we don't do that in Nigeria. Oh, that used to drive me nuts, especially when I felt like I was feeling like I'm the different one. And then they, when you're feeling something, the things that piss you off about what someone said is because on some level you believe it. You're struggling with it. You're trying to release it. So when someone else says that about you, you're like, who are you talking to? Oh, we're comical. Anyway, I want to try and bring this to. Anyway, I'm doing a lot of not editing, but because there's a longer story. So my sister said something, and then out of the blue, something came. Two things came. I can't remember what the first one was. I've been trying to remember, but I don't. But the second one was, I tell you the truth, which I can only say that in English. I can't say it in our language, because to me, that would be disrespectful. There's a way you relate to an elder, to your parents. You just, we don't even say, like in English, you refer to everybody, whether they're older than you or not, as you. In Yoruba, there is a way where you refer to someone who's older than you is not you to someone the same age, but someone older than you. So in Yoruba, it's so it's and o. So if you say ekason means good afternoon. When you say ekason, somebody else listening knows you're talking to somebody who's older than you. If you say Carol, they know that you're talking to Carol means good morning. They know you're talking to somebody maybe the same age. So I said in English, I'll tell you, I don't share my life with you. Some of the things that I hold back is because I don't feel safe. Woo! That was spirit, man, because in my right mind, I don't think I could have said that. And I remember saying that out loud, and I'm like, whoa, you just dropped the bomb. I still feel the emotions of that conversation as I replay it. I think maybe this is what actors do, right, Quinn? Can go back to that place. I can literally, if this was a play, a movie, I can go back there and the tears and everything right now. And I remember saying that because there's some things I didn't tell my father because I didn't feel safe. I just didn't feel safe. And it's not like he's mean. It's not like my father is so loving and so sensitive. When we click, we have a great conversation. When I go over to London, he's happy that I'm there. It's like, okay, it's time to massage me. I love massaging him. He falls out in about 30 seconds. Sometimes it's like, okay, you're going to massage me, but I'm going to stay awake. I'm like, good luck. And next day, he was like, it's only when you touch my leg on the right over here, that's all I remember. There's deep love there. And so, as I said earlier, I went to the restroom and came back, and we wanted to continue the conversation. This might get me crying. And I sat next to him, which is where I was sitting all along. And he grabbed my left hand. He just grabbed my hand with both his hands. Whew. And my father holding my hand, I don't know what he was thinking about when he did it. I don't know if he was praying, but I tell you, when he grabbed my hand, my whole being surrendered. My inner child just cried and cried. I heard voices, my voice in my head say, this is all I ever wanted. I just want you to love me. This is all I was wanting, to just love me. I wasn't saying out loud. I was just feeling it. I was hearing the voice, my voice, without me thinking the thought. And I was just rocking. I was in tears. You know, my sister was crying. I felt the love. I felt his love. He prayed. He spoke life into me. He affirmed me. He blessed my siblings, all of us. He said, forgive me for anything that I may have done. He just kept talking, and I just kept receiving. It wasn't an intellectual thing. It was an agreement. It was a soul thing. It was a spiritual thing. And for me, it was like the love that I was missing from that 0 to 4, that place called home that I felt was missing, not as a judgment. That hole was getting filled by my father holding my hands like I just wanted to know where I belong. And I talk to my father, not every day, but far more regular than before. I'm the one that can go a week or 2 without talking to dad. And I'm not thinking I ain't calling him. It's just I get busy. I'll call him later. Or sometime when I'm trying to call him, I get nervous. Anxiety kicks in. What are we going to talk about? My other siblings, they talk to him maybe most of them every day. Now we've been talking almost every day. And the conversation is Sunday night, that night after the healing. I was coming back home to Leicester, and he called me while I was getting in Uber. And we were just talking. I was telling about my journey. And I needed to get off the phone because I had my drum with me. I had my bag with me, luggage. And I said, I'll call you back. And I felt something I've never felt before. And I felt like I did not want to get off the phone, but I had to. I felt a connection that I don't remember feeling. When we talk now, we just have a conversation. Whew. Boy, that was trying to hold myself together, not to. Anyway, as parents, uncles, aunties, cousins, nephews, nieces, a human being, we hold the key to holding another. Whatever we need to do, whatever you need to do to allow yourself to be used when the time is right, let it happen. It is messy, it is hard, it is difficult. But we have a responsibility to one another. We have a responsibility to let our heart break. I am so grateful. Now, some people might say, my fathers don't like that. You don't know my father. You don't know my mother. My mother would never do that. It doesn't matter. I didn't know what was going to happen. And no matter how hard someone is, there is a softness in them. And if they can't access that place that's soft and vulnerable, maybe you want to ask, what happened to you that made you so hard? What made you so hard? I'm trying to reach you. I'm trying to touch that place in you that's soft, but this hardness is getting in the way, and time is getting away. There's a quote that I saw this morning. And the quote is by Søren Kierkegaard. It's a Danish philosopher. I'm sure I'm saying his last name wrong, but that's the closest I can do right now. He's not in the physical body, so I'm sure he ain't tripping. He said, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forward. I'll post that in the chat in a minute. Soren Kierkegaard. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forward. I've learned a lot about myself by looking back. In New Thought community, spiritual community, we're like, leave the past in the past. To leave the past in the past is to leave yourself out of your life. Generally, when people, well, I wouldn't say that. That thinking comes from the place where stop rehashing things, stop being, dealing with regret and blame. Yes. You are here because of the past. To tell yourself or anyone to forget the past is to tell a tree to forget its roots. And if the tree forgets its roots, sooner or later the tree's going to die. You can learn so much, no matter how traumatic it was, no matter your history, no matter the history of the country you're living in. In America, the history of America. I've always said America needs an international day, well, a national day of grieving. And I've been talking about it, and I'm excited to say that, a group of us is doing something called in June 19th, International Day of Grieving. We want to include other people, our stories that haven't been heard, that hadn't had space to be told. The story needs to be told. My father said, "What did you expect us to do? We had to earn a living." I said, "I know. I'm not mad. I don't know what he carried about that time." He has told me before in the past that, sometimes when he leaves me and is coming back from the nanny, he's like, are we doing this? Are we doing the right thing? Sometimes you do the things that you think you need to do, but later on you look back and you think maybe you shouldn't have done that. Or sometimes in that time you're like, is this the right thing? Sometimes you just won't know. And we all get an opportunity to look back and make sense about life. Your past is important. Embrace it. It informs you. It brings you back to yourself. And it creates space for you to live in now, in this moment. And however you're living in this moment, if the intention is to be present as much as possible, you get to create a different future. We're moving into a new year. You get to create a different future. America may refuse to tell the truth about people that were enslaved, what they did to people of First Nations, what they did to Japanese. But we don't need all of America. The things that happened in South Africa, the Biafra war that happened in Nigeria, what's happening in Afghanistan. There's some people are going to be for it and say, yep, a woman don't need to learn. Well, that was back in the day. Slavery is back in the day, but the Holocaust we never forget. We know the story. We deal with those facts. And yet there's some of us who's got to stand for the truth. Like, even though you deny the truth of my past, of my existence, of my people, I'm going to tell that story. And I tell that story right now because I am made whole as I tell the story. And as I tell the story, I give myself permission for my heart to break open. And the more I break open, the more I'm open to love. I get to redefine love. I get to look at all the BS that's going on in the world, and because my heart is broken open, I can take the BS and transform it and turn it into manure, because I'm an alchemist and I use that manure to grow me. And as I grow, I show up differently, and I be an example to others. I be a healing presence to others. I'll be a healing center to others, to my family. I get to represent my ancestors in a whole new way. I get to voice the emotions they couldn't speak. I get to cry the tears they couldn't cry. Because of whatever reason, the culture, the tradition, they were enslaved, they were trying to stay alive. And I also know that I'm more than the worst that happened to me. There's wisdom in me. There's creativity in me. There's joy that was passed on. There's laughter. There's greatness. There's vision. It's all in me. Ashley said on IG, she said, ignoring, denying, forgetting the past is being stuck in it. Yes, Lord. Making the space to know the past, be in the present and allow the future and for the future and allow for the future is a way to be free. There it is. All right, let me look at what y'all are talking about here, and we'll go out with me drumming. Jesus. Yep. Call his name. Brother JC. Yeah, Tavon said, Tavon, am I saying your name correctly? You may have answered earlier. Please let me know. He said, I've been there with my parents. It's a gift. Yes, I matched the energy that was given. I was like, now I know I'm back. I'm kind of delayed in this thing, but I'm just trying to look at it. Yes. Susan said, those hard conversations can be so frustrating. Yes, and messy, especially when we aren't being heard, or your words are misinterpreted. Girl, I was like, that is not what I'm saying. And then they said, don't get mad. What you mean, don't get mad? I'm telling you over and oh, thank you, Queen. Queen said, this is beautiful. This is so beautiful, said Sally, to be open and vulnerable. That's where healing is. That's where truth is. Everything that we're praying for, when you're praying for it, when you're praying for correction and whatever, for the answer to fully reveal itself, for you to anchor yourself in the answer, you got to be open and vulnerable. And the truth is, if we can see how the prayer is going to be answered, how the affirmation is going to manifest, some of us will stop praying. Because sometimes it shows up in a way and you're like, whoa, I don't know if I can deal with that. Because if I saw what happened 2 weeks ago, before it happened, nope, not doing it. Thank God I didn't see it. Thank you, Maxine. Yes, Wosa, indeed. I'm trying to go through this week, getting close to the end. Tavon said, let me scroll down and see if you told me if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. That's the correct way of saying my name. Whoo, he put exclamation. It's like, you're saying it the correct way. I'm a Nigerian. This is what we do. My name is Ade, not Ade. But if you say Ade, I'll take it. But it's Ade. I used to mispronounce my name too because I was trying to blend in. I didn't want to stand out. But once I reclaimed my identity, I'm like, shift. Ade is the right way to say my name. Say my name. All right. Robin said, you have blessed me tonight. I'm having a very difficult time with my son as we speak. I am so done trying. Yes. Be done with the fight and the struggle and listen to your heart, Robin. And when it's time, he'll be ready. Maybe he's ready. Maybe the time is for you to just listen to him. Maybe, I don't know. And he may be looking for something else, but just hold on to the truth. This is the affirmation that I quote. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forward. Now you can read that and say, well, yeah, everything is relative, but there's still truth in it. You know? Yes, you're an alchemist. And let's see this. Anise, I like that. Anise said, thank you. Now I can honor my past and not mentally beat myself up for constantly trying to make sense of my life and know that I am on the right track to my unfolding. You are, because I know that's true for me. We are. Everything that happened is a stepping stone for us to rediscover ourselves and uncover the truth. You're welcome, Marion. Thank you for listening. Hold on to the truth. That's right, Heather. Forgive me if I mess it up. But if I go by Tavon saying, you say my name correctly, he's like, yes. I won't let it go to my head too much. You're welcome, Jackie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. It's been so good being here. We're always on the right track, even when we feel like we're lost. Thank you, Heather. Even when we think we are lost, we're always on the right track. Kemet Forever, you're most welcome. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for sharing this space with me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being in this space for me to tell my story. Okay, I want to drum us out. I want to drum you into a new season as we move into a new season, as well as move into a new year. And I just hold the vision that you claim and accept your newness now, however that is. The key is to be open and vulnerable. Michelle, too. There's so many things I want to tell you about my book that's coming out January 10th. I'll share it. You're following me on IG, Life Coach Ade, on Facebook, Ade Anifoshio, Life Coach Ade. You'll find it there too. I make sure I also, yeah, just follow me. I forgot it's late. Rest in God and say Ade. You can, because I am an expression of the Most High. Yeah, I can't really go into it too tough, Susan. I'm so grateful. Thank you. If I can be of assistance to your journey, your process, check me out. Check me out on lifecoachade.com, lifecoachade.com. I've been trying to change my website. I'm working on it. I'm actually offering 50. I'm going to put out some announcement, 50% off everything, my service. So if I can be of support to your journey, to your growth, to seeing what needs to be seen, reach out to me, send me an email, lifecoachade.com, lifecoachade.com. That's right, Marion. Ade, which means crown. Ademola, which means wealthy crown, which means wealthy king. Better recognize. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate you. And I thank God for you. I'm sure I'll pop in if Rickie's still doing Soul Fulfilling next year. I'm going to be doing, there's so much more. It's time to go. If Rickie was here, she'd be like, finish the show. One time she said, it's okay. You got to start on time. It doesn't matter if you start late, if you finish late. And then one time Rashid was here and Lona, she's like, end the show. I'm like, but you said it doesn't matter if we're late at the end. It's time to go. It's time to grow. Be still. Be true with yourself. Trust the process. Life's got your back. Life knows what you need. I love you once again. I bless you. I appreciate you. And I thank God for you. We're all in this together. Make room for the people who get on your last nerve. But don't make room without putting love on the blanket. Put love in the space the best way you know how. I'm out. Peace and blessings. Thank you, Ashley. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God.